part 2 of what you're going to be doing. So what you guys have done is you've isolated the elements that you want to use as parts of the repeat pattern for the wrapping paper project. But now what we're going to do is change the colours, learn some tools for changing the colours using swatches that we've downloaded from Adobe.color. So open Adobe.color now. Just go into it and you'll need to sign on. So you go in there to the Adobe Colour Palette Generator. To get access to be able to actually download them, you'll have to log on with your normal taste password, same as everything else. Yes, Adobe.color. We did look at it before when we were doing our colour harmonies. So what we're doing now is we're applying what we learned in all those exercises, all the colour wheels. We've done our colour theory, now let's apply it to a real project. That's the idea of doing this, and using a very good creative tool that's commercially available. So what we're going to do in here, once you've logged on, is think about our colour harmonies. So we did an exercise where we just chose variations of colours with these. This time we're going to do it much more specifically. So think about your wrapping paper design and choose a set from each of these that you think would actually suit the product. Okay, so that's the whole point of this. We want to choose colours to suit the product. It's wrapping paper, so if you're choosing, it's for, I don't know, a graduation or something, it might be down here, more intellectual kind of colours. If you're choosing wrapping paper for a baby shower, you might come down here and look at these really soft sets of colours. All of those might be something you'd be looking at. If you are doing something a bit more, teenagery, you might go for these poppier colours, or a kid's birthday, you might be going for the much brighter colours. You choose a set from Analogous that you think looks great for the project. I've got somebody doing St. Patrick's Day, so guess what? They chose the greens, yeah? Makes sense, doesn't it? So if you were doing St. Patrick's Day paper, you would put in here, name it, and it would be Patrick, let's just say Patrick, Patrick Analogous. You need to name them or you'll get very confused. I had a student this morning download a whole bunch of them, not remember which was which. So save yourself the grief and give it a name, and just download the JPEG. That's all you need to do. Just download it, put it in a folder somewhere. So illustration, wrapping paper. Now hopefully these are colour swatches. You call it something where you can make sense of it, and then just start putting them in there. And you've got to do a set of monochromatic as well. So again, St. Patrick's Day, that'll be fine. If we're doing Valentine's Day, maybe we'd be over here with our monochromatic. And maybe we'd go a little bit more romantic and pastel-y somewhere in here. Yeah, so you choose and do one for each of these. You've got triadic. So again, choose a set of triadic colours that you think. I'll go back to St. Patrick's Day, so maybe over here, we just would only have the orange as the extra kind of colour. Maybe in that we can make that a bit softer as well. And if I'm happy with that, again I might soften the blue and then download that. Name it first. What kind of colour scheme is it? It's triadic. And with things like triadic colour schemes, or with any colour scheme really, you would pick one dominant colour and then have touches of the other colours. Same with the square or tetradic. Generally in colour, that's a principle. You try to have one dominant colour and then touches of the other contrasting colours. Okay, now we download that as a JPEG into the same folder, goes in there. So that's pretty easy. You just got to go through and choose sets of colours that you think would suit the actual occasion. Yeah, so move in if you want softer colours, right out on the edge if you want really vibrant ones. And you can see it's giving you some shades in between. You can fiddle about with them all. When you're happy with them, this is complimentary. It's not really Patrick anymore, but it's just a bit random. But yours won't be random. You'll be thinking, would they suit my particular job? Now, why are we doing that? Once you've done that, what you're going to do, you can see I've brought one of those swatches in next to my little guy, my little icon, my illustration. So all I've done is gone File, Place, and gone and found it, she says, not remembering where on earth she put it. There we go, it's in the Downloads folder. So there's one, and shrink it down a bit. I'll turn that one off so it doesn't confuse us. Oops. Just move that up there. So you just need it to be sitting there for while you do this exercise. You won't be bringing that in to Illustrator. When we go to Illustrator, we just want the clean graphic. But these you're going to save, and you're going to put those little JPEGs into the Word document. I'll show you where in a minute. So first off, let's have a look at the tools we can use, which are very easy to change those colours. So it's a tool under the brush tool. It's called the Colour Replacement tool. We can have some fun with that. Of course, we do have other ways of changing the colours quite dramatically. We do have we have a lot of things under the image adjustment menu. And something you might all want to do with your images before you go ahead is look at the levels. So image, before we make colour changes, just look at the tonality of your image. Is it too dark? Is it too light? Are the mid-tones washed out? Levels is a great tool for that. Open levels up, and you can see if I want to really punch up the colours a lot, by moving the little black slider, I'm working with the darker tones, intensifying them. If it's too dark already and I want to lighten it, I would use that one. If it's the mid-tones I want to play with, you would use this middle one. Okay, so sometimes when you scan things, they're a bit washed out. That's why I did the scan to USB, so we could pick up on the subtle tones in your work. But often you'll want to have a look at that before you do any colour work. So you're talking about the light-dark contrast of your image. Are you happy with it before you make the colour changes? So I've intensified the colours just a little bit. I'll turn on that little thing again. So to get my colours, I just use the eyedropper tool, and I'm going to pick the colours from here. As soon as I click there, it's going to turn up as the foreground colour down here, and with my change colour tool, that's what it will change it to. Okay? So the reason we use this and not the normal paintbrush is because if I paint with the paintbrush tool, it's eliminating all my beautiful tonal work. I could paint on a layer above. I could create a new layer and paint on that, and then put that into what's called overlay, or any of these other modes, or even take the opacity down, but none of it's as good as the change colour tool. So this is a useful tool where you really want to keep all the tonal variations that you've got going on. So does that make sense? So you just use the eyedropper tool to go and get the colours that you've chosen, and then use that, not the brush tool, but the colour replacement tool. And if you get that symbol, that just means I've unrasterised. I've got to re-rasterize it. So if it doesn't let you paint or select, it's because you've still got it as a smart object. Once it's not a smart object, you'll find that you can change things. So you can see now I'm changing the little bears to green. I'm going to go crazy with my green. Get rid of the colours I already had. Alright, so we're going to totally just use the colours in that colour set that I've downloaded. Use the eyedropper tool. Maybe I want a little bit of blue down there, so switch back to that. And then I could paint more carefully if I wanted to. I can just be a bit more subtle about it. Got the wrong tool there, that's why that wasn't work. There we go, so I could just do the edges in blue, for example. I could even just do the nose in blue, or whatever I've got here. So wherever you work with it is what you're going to change. Again, use those bracket keys to change the size up and down. So if you want to be a bit more precise, you certainly can be. So as long as you're using the colours that you've chosen for that particular colour harmony, and try and do your best job. Try and use your own aesthetic judgment. Go back to the eyedropper tool to change it to a different one. Maybe I want a little bit of dark brown. So this process, have a little bit of fun with it. It is a fun thing. And then when you finish, can you not talk, please? Because I'm recording this. When you're finished with this, one more thing you can do is you can also just select a little area. You could either use the magic wand tool and sort of draw around something and just colour in that area, or you could use, you could use any of these tools basically. We could use the magic wand tool to just get the little brown bits, and then only the bits I've got selected would be painted in. So I could use quite a big brush. So there's my brush, I could get the size right up. Change my colour to, what haven't we done? We haven't done lurid green. Oh, let's do the blue. Let's go for the blue. And then only the bit I've got selected is going to change, nothing else. Right? So you can isolate an area using any of those selection tools. So obviously an easier one to do would be to use the paint selection tool, selection brush tool, and you could just paint over the little bits that you want, click off it, they become the selection, and then use your change colour tool. Go back with your eyedropper, use the eyedropper to change whatever it is. I'm getting lost here because I think I've used all my colours. So, but anyway, whichever colour you wanted to put in there, maybe we give him green eyes. That's what's going to end up in only the selected bit. So it's not affecting anything else. All right, so you can really sort of muck around with it. That hasn't done much. I didn't do a very good selection. But you get the idea. You can really customise it and make it reflect these colour palettes. So you can see I've got a different colour palette here. So same process, but you must name these, and whatever palette you've used, when you've finished, go File, Save As, and make sure, you name it with Bare Triadic. If that's what it was, you need to name it and keep it in that folder, wherever you had the folder, so that you know where they are, because you're going to need these to put them into your assessment document. So you'll need these guys as separate files, and you'll need this. So that's the job, is to get all the colour harmonies done from all the ones that we've been exploring: analogous, monochromatic, triadic, complementary, split complementary, square, and that's it, and then your original. So that's the job. And then when you're finished, not yet, when you're finished that part of the exercise, and I know some people will get that finished, or at least have one or two graphics they've finished, you're going to scroll down to where it asks for these variations in here, blah, blah, blah. So you're going to put your little JPEGs in here. It says put 3 or more colour schemes explored on Adobe Colour, so you can put them all in there. You've got more than 3. And then you're going to put your original, and then you're going to put in your version. That's why you have to save them. That's wrong, that last one. That should be one of these. So the last one in there is just pick any colour scheme, you know, design one of your own. Back in Adobe Colour, you can do a custom one and you can really individually kind of pick some colours and make your own kind of set of colours, a custom set, and that will be the last one on the assessment document. So see how far you get. Like I said, the other class got there, so see if you can get there. Okay, maybe you're not 100% finished, but you'll get close to it. Okay, so Photoshop, changing the colours. I'm going to stop this recording, put it on the Moodle, so if you're lost, you can go back, replay it at your own pace, put your headphones in if it's in the classroom, or at home, you can go through it. If a couple of people who are behind, you can just try and work your way through it if you're behind, okay?